The combat vault was where galactic civilization determined true hierarchy. Thousands of alien warriors gathered in the arena to witness the final championship match, a Krell apex predator versus a Zolonian champion, both standing 9 meters tall, both possessing enough raw power to level fortifications. The crowd roared with anticipation. This was the pinnacle of galactic combat. In the observation gallery, a young human girl sat alone, unnoticed by the crowd. Her name was Lyra, and she had been brought to the vault as a data analyst, a minor role, insignificant in the grand pageant of warrior dominance. The Krell and Zolonian began their match with ritual posturing, testing each other's defenses. Neither found advantage. They moved into close combat, trading strikes that shook the arena floor. The battle raged for minutes, a display of raw strength and size advantage. Then something unexpected occurred. A catastrophic equipment failure. The arena's containment field flickered. The Krell's weapon malfunctioned mid-strike, causing him to stumble. In his vulnerability, the Zolonian struck with lethal force. The Krell fell. But the fall damaged the arena structure. A support beam began to collapse directly above the medical station where injured spectators were being treated. In seconds, the falling debris would crush dozens of beings. All eyes turned upward, watching the inevitable tragedy unfold. Except for Lyra. She moved without hesitation, without calculation, with only survival instinct. While everyone watched the falling beam, she ran, not toward safety, but toward the danger. She positioned herself beneath the collapsing structure and braced her body against supporting pillars, using every ounce of human leverage and core strength to stabilize the beam just enough. For 7 seconds, she held. Medical teams evacuated civilians. Then, as her muscles reached their absolute limit, the beam shifted. Lyra dove sideways, landing hard but alive as the structure collapsed where she had stood. The crowd fell silent. A small human girl had just prevented catastrophe through instinctive action. But the drama wasn't over. The newly crowned Zolonian champion, still adrenaline-fueled from victory, noticed something: the human girl was injured. Blood ran down her arm. Her leg was twisted awkwardly. She was vulnerable. Some ancient predatory instinct awakened in him. He saw not a hero, but prey. He descended from the arena, towering over Lyra's smaller frame. "You protected them," the Zolonian said, his voice carrying something between respect and hunger. "But who will protect you?" The crowd fell silent again, expecting tragedy. Lyra looked up at the 9-meter-tall apex predator and smiled. "I don't need protection," she said quietly. "I need you to stop moving." The Zolonian laughed, a sound like thunder, and lunged. What happened next occurred in 9 seconds. Lyra didn't meet his strength. She used his momentum. As he charged, she pivoted, grabbed his arm, and used his own forward motion to throw him over her shoulder. He crashed onto his back, the impact knocking the air from his lungs. Before he could recover, Lyra executed a strike she had learned on Earth, not to his strongest points, but to his most vulnerable, the junction between his main thorax and secondary respiratory chambers. She struck with precision born from understanding Death World combat, where you don't overpower your enemy, you incapacitate them. The Zolonian gasped, unable to breathe properly. Lyra didn't finish him. She stepped back, leaving him incapacitated but alive. The entire vault had watched a 9-meter apex predator be neutralized by a human girl in 9 seconds. The silence was absolute. A crystalline scholar in the crowd finally spoke: "How is that possible? The mass differential alone should make victory impossible." Lyra, breathing hard but standing victorious, explained, "You all think combat is about size and strength. But on Earth, we learned that survival isn't determined by who's biggest. It's determined by who understands anatomy, leverage, and momentum. You were all taught to fight like your environment taught you, with overwhelming force." She paused, wiping blood from her arm. Humans were taught by a world that tried to kill us in 1,000 ways. We learned to win against impossible odds by targeting weakness instead of matching strength. By understanding that every body, regardless of size, has critical points. By recognizing that momentum and leverage are more powerful than muscle mass. The Zolonian champion, recovering his breath, looked up at the human girl with something resembling awe. "You could have killed me," he said slowly. "Why didn't you?" "Because I'm not from a culture that celebrates death," Lyra replied. "I'm from a culture that celebrates survival. You were an opponent, not an enemy. Now you're just someone who learned something important." The combat vault erupted, not in the roar of victory, but in the sound of 1,000 alien warriors finally understanding. The smallest, least noticed competitor had just rewritten what combat meant across the entire galaxy. Lyra became the unexpected champion, not through size or strength, but through something far more revolutionary, the Deathworld wisdom that true power comes from knowing exactly where to strike.